Here is a quick experiment with a pull-down design sensor. Here the sensor is represented by a button that I can press and ground the circuit. The signal goes through the wire to the PCM, and here I have a connector. Here I have installed a solid wire so that the connector is good. The PCM supplies voltage through a resistor, in my case 470 ohm. Typically it's 5 volts. Here I have a battery that is 6.14 volts. But that should be good for our experiment. The PCM sees this voltage, and here I have it displayed on the red voltmeter, 6.14 volts. And because all my wiring is good, at the sensor I see the same voltage that is displayed on the blue voltmeter. If I press the button, then I ground the circuit, and it's no surprise that then the blue voltmeter and the red voltmeter are showing the same voltage, 0 volts. So the PCM is able to clearly see when we press the button. However, what happens if I put a resistance, extra resistance, at the connector of the PCM? To do that, I will install a 2 kilo ohm resistor, and let me tighten up the connections. And what do we see? When the button is not pressed, then we have 6.14, 13 volts on both voltmeters. Again, the values are very similar. However, if you press the button, then at the sensor we ground the voltage, so it goes to 0, but at the PCM, look at the red voltmeter, the voltage dropped only to 5.04 volts. Not that much different from the 6.14 that we started with. And this really shows that in this case, with the extra resistance at the connector, the PCM is not going to register that the button was pressed. And this is the lesson of this experiment, is that even though at the sensor you have perfect voltage signal going from 0 to the supply voltage, it doesn't mean necessarily that the PCM sees it, because there could be some extra resistance in the connector due to, for example, corrosion. And even though the supply voltage is able to get to the sensor through imperfect wiring, here we have an issue with the connector, and so we see the same voltage when the button is not pressed. Things are different when we press the button. We could have 0 volts at the sensor, but not much change at the PCM.